Hi, Jonathan from Live Life Coach. Are you or someone you know feeling stuck, searching for direction, or wanting a clearer sense of what's next? You're welcome to connect with me. Whether you're exploring practical next steps or seeking God's leading, I'm always open to a genuine, no pressure conversation. Welcome back. Today I thought I'd take a look at, again, looking at goals and different types of goals. And so this time, thinking about vision setting. Some people aren't really into SMART goals. Personally, I'm not really into SMART goals or actual specific goals. They don't seem to work so well for me. I'm more of a bigger picture thinker and thinking about, long term, what do I want? And just processing those, and as I think about them and as they pop up in and out of my mind and doing things, I can work through things and really start to see things come together for those and just be able to move forward. And some people like that. Some people like the more specific bounds goals. Others like to have a bit of a broader picture, a bit of a broader idea of what they're doing and just have their goals set around that. And so couple of ways that you can do, work through that so that becomes a little bit more tangible is to do some vision setting, goal planning. And so some of those we'll have a look at today. And one is a vision board. Most people have heard of a vision board. One of the most common probably things that are used out there, particularly in coaching, is vision boards. What is a vision board? Well, you take magazine, pictures. Well, these days the internet, you can just drag pictures off, drag words, drag whatever you want. You put them onto a board. You may even have a pin-up board at home, and you just put your images that you want to have, photos and clips out of a paper or out of a magazine or whatever. If you still get those, or something you've printed off, put them onto the wall so that when you're in your home and you're walking around, you come past your vision board and you look at it and you go, it's a visual picture of what you would like to do. Those goals that you have, that visual imagery that works in your mind subtly, that just makes you think about, where you want to head, what you want to do, what are your goals, formed in pictures. And that can be a really great way to do it. You just take all those ideas and they're there. And by doing that, you're telling your mind, because your mind's a very powerful tool, you're telling your mind, hey, these are things that I'm aiming for. This is what I'm going to work towards. And some people would say that, look, if you haven't actually sat down and gone, well, to go for an overseas trip, I need X amount of dollars, so I'm going to do it, that, just having the vision board wouldn't be enough. You need to know specifics and how it's all going to go. But not everybody works that way. When we see that picture of that airplane thinking, right, we want an overseas holiday, or a picture of the hammock on the beach or something, right, those things for some people, they'll naturally work through that. They'll be thinking, right, okay, I have a look at how much does it cost to fly to Hawaii? How much does it cost to fly to Australia? And they will look at, what it takes to get there and how to actually achieve that goal just by having those pictures in front of them. That will put it in place. They'll start bringing little pieces together, and they just know little bits and pieces, and all those big pieces become one bigger picture. And they'll be able to use that to be able to move on to their goal and fulfill their goals. They may not have a specific end date in mind with some of these things. Sometimes they do. And that's fine if you don't have that end date in mind. But if you've got that goal and that imagery in front of you to remind you, it really does help you, work through and aim for those things. Another one that can be quite good for people is the abstract thinkers approach. And so this is where you take more of a broader approach, and you ask questions like, what would a fulfilling day look like for me? What energizes me the most right now? What am I being called into? What direction feels life-giving? And so this can be quite a broad sort of feeling-based kind of goal setting. And so you'll spend your time sort of thinking about what is it that is going to give me joy in my day. What is it that's going to make me feel fulfilled and moving forward? And that can be things like holidays. It can be a new job place. It could be exercising. But it's about what is it that will bring you joy? What will bring you some happiness? Make you feel fulfilled? And those things you can work through, and you can really aim towards those. It's not about having specific I've got to run 100 kilometers. It's about, hey, actually I enjoy running. I'm just going to run for the fun of it. I'm going to run each day or every second day because I enjoy it, and that's what I want to do. And you'll be able to work through those things and, just have that abstract approach. And for some people that works. Those who like to have very specific focused things would really struggle with this one. I think they'd be struggling to just go, well, how do you know you've actually achieved something? Well, for the person who's quite an abstract thinker, the way they have achieved it is that feeling that they get, that sense of achievement, that they've enjoyed what they've done, and the next day they'll go out and do it again, or they might go and do something different, but they just feel fulfilled in what they had planned to do and what they're working through, and they just really enjoy it. Another one can be the North Star or guiding statement, and so this one is where you take a statement or a compelling vision of who you want to be or where you want to be in so many years' time. And so you may say, look, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Where do I want to be in 5 years' time? And that would be your thing, is you'd make this statement around, what you want to have achieved in 5 years' time and where you want to be, who you want to be within that. What legacy do you want to leave behind? When people see you and, they go, wow, that guy, we know him for this, we know him for that. What do you want to be leaving behind? What do you want people to remember you for? And it's not just when you pass away. This is, when people meet you, when they walk away, what are they going to remember you for? What is your legacy? What are you aiming for? Are they going to know where you're heading, what you're doing? Is it something that you're just going, you're bringing out, this is your guiding star, your North Star that you're looking towards? What things would you think your future self will thank you for? If you look at it and say, well, today I've got this problem going on here, but if I could actually move past, challenge myself and move forward and get to this stage where I'd like to be, then will your future self thank you for that? I'm sure it will. And you can look at that and say, okay, if I manage to, if I can do that, then I will I think I would be thanking myself for that. For some people that can be health, for some it can be income, for others it can be position in a job. These are all sorts of things that can be this guiding star or this future thought that you want to have that gets you to a place that's different to where you are now, and something that you can work through. And again, just big picture thinking, bit of abstract thinking, working through things and processing them in the way that you work best. So something that can be, another option that can be is values-based goal setting. And so, you look at your values. What do you hold dear to yourself? What are the things that when you really look at your life, you go, this is what I truly believe. This is what I value in life. And that could be many things. It could be your family, it could be, your job, it could be your business, those things that you value. What are you going to do around those things? What are the goals that you're going to do around that? And so you can, sit down and you can look at what are my top 3 to 5 values? What are those things that, I say, those are my, what I stand by. That's how I live my life and what I do. And looking at, what am I going to do intentionally to align myself with those values? How am I going to live in a way that I live those values out each day in what I'm doing? And then, you start looking at, am I living in line with those values? Am I living within what matters? And just really looking at that and working through that. And that would be a guide to how you're going to live. Those values are going to be where you see yourself, around what you see yourself being and becoming and doing. And so it's not so much about what you want to achieve. It's about what matters most to you. And so you can work through those things and you can figure out what those values are. You start putting them in place in your daily living. And again, people may look at you and say, hey, I can really see that he values these things in his life. He has a real passion for these things and he really wants to be doing this in the right way. And so there's many different options there. There's lots of things. And so it's a bit more with a vision base. It's a bit more of an open book. There's not so much, it's not so specific. There's a bit more freedom to be able to explore, to work through things, and just, rather than going, I'm going to do it by this date, and I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to have this plan in place. It's a little bit more open. It's a little bit more, moving forward. And I've had that. I've had some goals where I've looked at things and gone, I'd really want to get that done, but it's taken some time, and I've just sort of kept plugging away at them, keep them in my mind, and some things have taken 25 years to get to. Some things took 5 years to get to, but they never left. Those ideas were there, that vision was there, the plan was there, and I was able to achieve it through working through that. And for me, if I'd set those goals specifically, I would have been disappointed, because I'm not that type of person that sits down and goes, okay, have I achieved all my goals today? I tend to be a little bit more, do this, do that, do this, do that, and move on and come back, swing around again. I'm not a finisher as such. I can start one thing, move on to another thing, swing back again, carry on with the other thing, and move through. And so vision setting works well for me, having a bigger picture, bigger idea. Okay, at times though, I do need to be specific. I do need to set, say, a SMART goal and go, right, okay, I've got something I really need to get done at this stage. This is what I'm going to look at, and this is what I'm going to work through. And so this is what I get into, understanding how we think, how we work through, and how we can best use that in our lives. Because when we understand how we think and how we process, then we don't worry about what other people are doing or what other things are going on. We stop beating ourselves up because we're not like Joe Bloggs next door, who's the big SMART goal thinker, because we're a vision thinker. Or you're a SMART goal thinker and Joe was a vision thinker and has all these great ideas, and you're just sort of like so focused, you can't understand how he can't be focused. All these things make a difference, but when you realize how you process things and how you work through things, it can really help you just live a better life, more fulfilling life, because then you're living to your true self, not out into what other people think you should be doing, or how they think you should be living or doing things or working the way that they work, because not everybody works the same way as you. We're not all the same. We're all a bit different. And so if you want help figuring that out, you want to understand your identity, your personality, the way that you can work through things, then I'm here. Reach out. I'd love to have a chat with you, help you work through these things, help you understand whether you're a SMART goal setter or a vision goal setter, or whether vision board is for you, or whether being very specific, measurable, targeted, is that what you need? We can work through those things. We can figure that out if you're not sure, and can help you find that life that you want to live in a way that you want to live it. Hey, look, happy to help. I'm here. I'd love to chat with you and help you live your life with clarity, purpose, and direction.